Hello everybody, I am sorry for the few minutes, but I've been waiting here to get my stream on. Hi Elaine, thank you for being on. Hi Sandra, Sharon, Rebecca, Colleen, Ilyanka, Witch Willow, yay, Darla. How are you today? I am going to show you how to do a few things. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to prepare again the Crackle ahead of time because of temperature, humidity, and other things, which I forgot to tell you are very important when you're doing the when you're using media. But because of that, I thought I was going to show you another really neat thing that you can do. It doesn't look like stone, but it looks it's another different technique that I deconstructed. If you weren't aware of this, sometimes with my sponsors, because I don't know if it's because I worked for so long with polymer clay, because I have such a vision of 3D color and so on and so forth, sometimes my sponsor asks me, how do you think this was made? You know, of course I'm not going to put up a tutorial, but I will be deconstructing, trying to figure out how something was made, even if it's not, there is no tutorial about it out there. And what I'm going to show you is a type of deconstruction that I did. Hi J9, hi here Asuna, hi Francis. I think I said Ramona. No, I didn't. Hi Ramona. It's just these colored letters look so much alike sometimes. So first I'm going to do a very simple, oh, where's my camera? There we go. A very simple thing, and this is way too bright. Let's go just one pinch darker. There we go, because otherwise you won't be able to see what I'm doing. Hi Karen. So this was actually done with it was one of my sponsors things, and I'll show you how to do it with various things, but this one was already baked, and it is to make it look like glazed ceramic. Obviously you're gonna put a glaze on it, and what I like to use the most is liquid clay, because it gives that specific look of ceramic glaze. So we are going to use a little bit of this Crackle, and I'm going to use the one step in this thing, because and this is with chalk pastels, and it will still look relatively okay. Let me just check on something else. There was one that was, no, this is not any of them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to just apply some acrylic on it, let it dry. And there are some of my paintbrushes I cannot find. I took them to the kitchen, I washed them really good, and then I thought I brought them back in here, but apparently not. So this is not, I'm going to apply acrylic on it, because on each of them you have to have a base medium for it. So it's something that needs to be done. It will not work without a base medium. There are other mediums that work that just go by themselves like that. They crack by themselves, but they are more expensive. So as I said, I want to show you stuff that can be done with not so much money, because most of us do have some money issues these days. So I'm going to just apply, I just picked up some really fast. Acrylics, this is a coral brush. And no, I'm not using a palette. I'm going to just so this is on white, directly on white, and as you can see I'm not using a lot of color because I don't want it to be too clay machine. Lucy, I never tried the Lucy. I don't know, I just don't try those. But if you want a good quality clay machine, and I have on my influencer store a I'm signed off. Just a second. Goodness gracious, I forgot. I'm changing fairly often my password, and last time I changed it I didn't change it here. Of course. Never mind, just a second, give me just a second, I'll just go in through my channel. Because it's hard for me to, I already have my all my stuff here, and the keyboard is all the way there. So let me see. So if you go on my influencer store, again, I'm going to place the link in the stream. But if you go here, you will see that I have a section all with pasta machines. Let me get to it. I hope I didn't go past it. There you go. So we got the pasta machine section. What I can tell you, don't buy whatever looks cheap pasta machine on Amazon, because that's the whole deal. As J9 said, most of the modern pasta machines have plastic fenders, and plastic will be getting eroded by polymer clay. So I am pretty much okay with my makings. I did have, in 4 years, I had to change the motor once. But the one that I fully recommend, even if it is more expensive, is the Atlas. And you can also get an Imperia. Depends on what, and as you can see, I have here several of them. My Atlas is a 180. Makings is a 180. It's not a 150. So if you go on the Atlas, you can see that there is a small difference, but you can get it hand cranked and then get the next month later get the motor, because the motor is like $100 right now. The price for an Imperia, but this Imperia is a 150, I think. It doesn't really say. The makings is dual speed. Atlas is not dual speed. Atlas is one speed and then pulse. This one looks like a 150, but Let's see if they say anything. I cannot translate right now. Yeah, it is a 150. It's not a 180. So honestly, depends on what's your budget, but the cheaper ones that I recommend on that list, they are with metal fenders, not with plastic fenders, because I had the same thing when my because I had an old what was it, Amaco, and somebody helped me clean it with a knife and completely destroyed the gears and stuff. So it only had two settings, thinnest and thickest. So when that happened, I went ahead and I bought a cheap pasta machine from Amazon, but it was not a polymer clay pasta machine, because all pasta machines that are designed for polymer clay will not have plastic in it. It was just a regular pasta machine, and it worked about a week, after which I got the Russian bots again. It worked about a week, and then of course when I was doing the whole rolling the clay through the machine, I was like, what the heck is this hard stuff that's coming with the clay? And it was the two fenders. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, if you want a cheaper version, I would recommend the Makins. But if you're talking about a motor one, without a motor, you can get the 20, between 20 and 30 bucks, hand cranked, and they last for a while. I mean, my old Amaco, gosh, was like, I try to remember, 2019. It worked for like 10 years. So it's just the luck of the draw. A lot of them will not work good. A lot of them work good. It's just the luck of the draw when you're talking about the cheaper ones. But hi Sarah. I said hi Sarah. I don't know if I did. Anyway, so that is the whole deal. I'm waiting for this to dry out. And then we're gonna go for it. And I know that I did skip yesterday's monthly chat, but I just couldn't do it. It was the last day of that huge cold snap we had here. I mean, it was so bad that Thursday night it went down to like 11, and then Friday night it went down to like 8 or 9. And it started warming up Saturday afternoon, but before that it was cold. Really affects my pain level, so it was not a good thing. Anyway, in the meanwhile, let me just prepare a little piece of something here. It's just a piece of fairly scrappy clay that I have. And what I'm going to do with it, because this also will have to wait for it to dry properly, I'm going to place, and you can do this with any colors, but I'm going to use a green on it, which is the plantation pine. I actually was looking for the black green, but I just pulled this out. If I can open it, I'm gonna have to go through my acrylics again and see what is not good anymore and get replacements. I didn't get as many acrylic paints as I normally do in these last 2 years because of COVID, obviously. This needs to be a little bit. But as I was saying, I had to skip the monthly chat, and I'm going to try and talk about some of the stuff that some of my thoughts and things today. As I said, I put a little note in the community tab on my channel. And again, I'm going to approach the whole feeling the funk thing. So this is going to go a little bit like this. I'm going to do washes because you don't want, remember I told you don't want to have a thick layer of acrylic. And then I was, the other thing that I was observing, okay, the human brain is wired for hierarchy. I mean, this is something they discovered more than a decade ago. And what happens is that because of this wiring, there's always a permanent competition to establish a type of pecking order. And in various groups in society, and I'm not talking about just the whole society in general, because that is fairly known, but in various defined groups, especially groups by interests, by common experiences, by you name it, there are the way to establish this pecking order is very interesting, because even if some of it might seem that it's actually a call for attention, like let's say if you have a group, an online group, okay, not necessarily a daily group, a group for people suffering of rheumatoid arthritis, right? At one point, it is inevitable you are going to see that. Hi, Judy. You are going to see that it's like a competition for who hurts most, or who has the hardest time to do something. And originally, if you look at first sight, it might seem that it is just a cry for attention. And that will happen even more in live groups. But in fact, in groups that are together, and people have gathered together to exchange information about a common illness, a common symptom like that. It is not for attention because everybody would have the same thing. It is to establish pecking order because it's something like, my symptoms are worse than yours, then I have more experience, so what I say should be taken more at face value than what you say, and should be more important than what you say, because generally speaking, pecking order, and that is in any societal excuse me species, any species that goes in groups, the pecking order depends either on ability of hunting, on ability of breeding, and the ability of hunting is actually in two different, it's experience or power. And in the human society, the ability of hunting has been replaced by the ability of making money. And again, remember, it is either by experience or by power, and what replaced the old power in hunting here is replaced with financial backing and relationships and stuff like that. So it is in fact a pecking order for leadership that is based on perceived experience due to intensity and number of symptoms, side effects, and so on and so forth. The heart, no, I'll show you here actually, while we are waiting for this to dry, let me show you real quick how to make it. It's super easy, super easy. Let me grab a white. I've shown you before how to make your own. These are all made either with bake and bend or with cast clay. So there are various, and I think I've shown you before. This one is definitely from a tutorial that I have out there. It's in the public section. That is how to make this is bake and bend, how to make textures for bezels using actual jewelry chains. Oh, this one. So this one is a variation of, give me just a second. I'm going to try it for you. Extruder has a U, not a Y. There we go. So it is this tutorial, which is a little bit older tutorial. Let me switch to display. So it is similar to this, and this one was made with alcohol inks, but it is very easy to make something like this. And what I actually did, and I showed how to do this, it's practically a toothpick, a needle, and the end of a paintbrush, because the way that it goes to make these, so these are tiny cutters. This is the end of a paintbrush, so you'd go pretty much, let me find a paintbrush that's similar. This is good. So in order to do this, you just go like this and you press more on the end so that it will leave something like this, and then simply use a toothpick or a needle to do the rest. So this is the texture that I used on this specific one. No, this is made out of cast clay. These are made out of cast clay. This is something I did for Nemo, and these are on this and this. They are made for foam metal, and they give a really neat. Give me just a second. Some of them are actually made with scrap polymer clay. They give a really neat metallic appearance. Grab a semi. This is scrap clay, even if it looks like graphite. Just a second here. And as you can see, these are made with like Kemper cutters and toothpick and stuff like that. This is made simply with a blade and a small one of those tiny cutters. This again is made with cutters, and this I used in another tutorial that I have out there that's about how to make the varnishing using Kato PolyClay, liquid clay. But just to give you an idea, I'll give it a pinch of Armorol. This is a polymer clay, not a bake and bend or anything like that. So I did get enough. Let me wipe the Armorol real quick. And let's zoom in a little bit so you can see better what's the effect it gives. And you can make, you can absolutely make bezels using this and all that. Hi Sonia. I'm just trying to remove all the liquid from here, and then let's use a little bit of metallic wax on it. And and you will see a absolutely perfect metal looking like thing. And if you do it a little bit longer, and even like this, I can still show you how to make a bezel. Wipe my finger. But let's say I have a cabochon, and this is just to give you a sample of how it looks like. You just have to cut it even. And I'm going to give it, it's not perfectly even, but there we go. So, of course, you'll place it on a baking medium. It's better if you make it long to start with, obviously. Hey, it's not on a baking medium. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm staying within the zoom of the camera. It might not be enough, but you still get the idea. See how beautifully metallic it looks, and it's something different than what you are used to. So let's get back to this. Hi Bernadette, welcome. So as you can see, you can make some really neat self-made. This is from when we did the coronavirus pendant on one of the lives. This is again another one that's made simply with tiny cutters, and I think it was the end of a brush again. This is with a stamp, and I just used it to make a mica shift on this. These are simply the negatives of this, because sometimes I want to have a different thing. These are all made for faux turquoises, and I showed you how to make these. They are for various sizes of matrix. If you look in my faux, these are for my crinoids. I've been working on some crinoid. I don't know if you know what crinoids are. I actually have a better one there. Crinoid fossils. Crinoids are a type of anemone that lives in the sea, and the fossils look really neat. Let me see if I can do a really fast search. So I want to do some some fossils out of them. This is pretty much how they look like, and I was working on various fossils. As I said, I do have a one that I worked. Let me see if it is, because I need to take these away anyway. I'll leave just one. What did I do with it? Let's leave just this one here, and I'm gonna take these all back. I don't know how I brought all of them together, because they don't fit in my hands anymore. Might be in one of my boxes. I don't have it, but anyway, what I was saying, I want to do some folkrinoid fossils. As you can see, they are super elegant, and I really like them, so I've been working on that. But let's go ahead and do this specific thing, this specific heart. Let me make sure I can put a little bit more here. Of course, you want to do this, you know, you can work on several pieces at the same time. So that when you have to wait, once they are all done, you don't have to wait for the next ones and the next ones and the next ones and the next ones. You know how that works. Your best bet in working these actually would be to use a sponge, a little painting sponge, because once you're doing this, it's going to kind of absorb the extra. So you can place it in a more even format, but just keep doing this until you get all the extra taken care of. And then you can let it dry a little bit and then apply the next. So I'm going to do just that right now while we are working on the other one. Because it needs to be really dry for this. So very simple. I'm grabbing the white, give it one pass through the pasta. I'm grabbing the white, a pinch of releaser, so this is PolyClay, right? And one thing that you need to do for the next part, you need to really make sure that it is very dry. if you use the release, you need to make sure that after the release it gets dry. And of course I took that away. I told you I am semi OCD because after I had the chemo, and it affected my short-term memory. I need to make sure that I put stuff back right after I use it, otherwise I will not find it. Like I cannot find those paintbrushes. So let's see. Why I don't have here any? There we go. I usually have little pieces of wax paper laying around on purpose. So I'm going to grab to make it exactly like that, so that you can see exactly how that was made. Just some yellow, some orange, some pale yellow, beigeish, pale yellow, this away. And especially with this thing, because it's got so many tiny bits in it, after it happened twice that I toppled it and then I had to hunt for all the little bits. Got this, clean the paintbrush and then do a little bit of blending and then simply cut. And then once it's baked, come with a little bit of a small piece of whatchamacallit, a sandpaper, and simply sand off the raised parts. And this one I actually did a little bit of you know, bezeling, not with this thing, this one, so just to make a nice edge on it, and then you can just do more of this. And this is pretty much how that one is done, only that the middle is a little bit more to the side, and this one has orange acrylic on top of it, which is still not fully dry. Drives me nuts. Okay, let's go ahead and just apply some of this. It's going to still work, I promise you. Hi Wendy. So yeah, as I was talking about the whole pecking order, the other problem, why does that happen, and especially why does it happen with people who are in the same group with other people who have the same issues and they are still trying to establish a pecking order? And generally, especially considering that, and I'm going to be very honest with you, you know, I'm not much for political correctness. Generally, people who suffer of a debilitating disease, pain, you name it, and are disabled, are somehow on a more marginalized and they are in a, if we talk about general society pecking order, they are somewhere towards the bottom, right? Because also remember that most people who don't have these issues do not know exactly what it entails. And I'm talking also people who have mental health issues, who are bipolar, and so on and so forth. You would still see this type of attempting to establish a pecking order. Excuse me. And you think, why does that even matter? Well, it matters because, and there have been studies that have been done in the last few years. Apparently, health-wise, as much as our brain is wired to a hierarchy and will be always wired to try and establish a hierarchy and pecking order and all that, the people who are at the bottom, and the lower they are, the more health issues they will have, because the lower you get, you know that most of our diseases are stress induced. And the lower you are on the social scale construct, the more health issues you'll have, because you have more stress. So what in fact people are doing with all this slight bickering, and I'm talking about slight bickering, but sometimes I'm gonna be honest with you, I've seen pretty inflamed arguments. I mean, like talking about, let's say, breast cancer. Someone who had DCIS, that is the benign type, the type right before becoming invasive, gives an opinion about something, and then somebody else comes, how dare you even talk about this? You didn't even have had invasive cancer. I was stage 3. I know better. You know, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? Well, this is what is going on. People in their subconscious, they are trying to establish a pecking order so that their health will be less affected. So if that happens to you and you are being rebuked by somebody like that, and I'm talking about that especially because, as you all know, my social segment is with people over the age of 50 and or people with disabilities. So for your health of mind, if that happens to you, try not to take it personally. Try not to get stressed, because all the other person is trying to do, even if they are not aware of it, they are trying to survive. And especially with having a lot of health issues, it can be very traumatic to go through life like that. And obviously but they are trying to do something better for themselves. Come on, dry out already. It's not dried. I bet you it's not dried. And I've seen this happening more and more. And it is only normal because, on one hand, we are getting less and less, trying to convince it to get dry faster. We are getting less and less communication and in-person interaction because of the pandemic, and especially when you are older and or disabled, you are going to be more of an hermit than others because you have to protect yourself with, if you have underlying health conditions, you know that if you get COVID, you have higher chances of severe disease. And the only interaction that you have, and because human beings are a social creature, who suffer if they are not in a pack, if they are not in a group, and I'm talking about of the majority of people, right? Think about the fact that, in fact, the person who's trying to put you down is only doing a type of who's bigger in order to try to establish a higher yes, pan pastels are just fine. Any type of powder pigment, anything. They are just trying to establish a pecking order so their health will not be as badly affected. And this is why in any societal construct that is in groups with pecking order, everybody's kind of struggling to get to the top. Alrighty, now this is not fully, because it should be kind of fully covered, so you need to do like 3 or 4 layers, but I'm gonna still work with it. Oh, come on, get out of here. It looks like crap, doesn't it? Doesn't really look like it would be anything of value. Well, it's going to be. Because remember, dried out acrylic might have been a better idea to let it to dry more, but it's still going to be fine. It should crackle. Dried out acrylic crackles when you start stretching the clay. Oh, it's not dried enough. Let's try and do this. If I don't touch it to my fingers, it will work better. Probably got a little bit of pattern. And just keep pulling on it. Should have used just plain black on this. Cut it again. Now, because if I use the heat gun, the polymer clay is going to get baked as well. The idea is that you're supposed to do like this to pull the acrylic over the bottom clay, but as you can see, I'm taking off some of the acrylic, which is not a good thing. Let me try and do just a pinch of heat gun. Okay, that should have dried out the acrylic. Enough. And now you can start just simply pinching it. It's a very organic form, and I guess you can do it with hearts as well. And now comes the fun part. I'm going to grab one of these, and I'm going to go through the middle. First, let me give it just one bit of an opening. Oh, come on. I just want to give it an opening. I don't want to do more. Oh, just by pushing this, it's going to no, the thing is that if you have full dried out thicker acrylic, it's going to give that specific effect. Unfortunately, as I said, it didn't dry out properly. Should have done this well ahead of time. If you give me just a second. Let me see if I can find it to show you exactly what it's supposed to look like. No, it's not. It might actually be on Facebook. Give me just a second. And going back to what I was talking about, it is better if you try and diffuse the whole situation if you get attacked like that, because if you hear sound right now, oh no, you don't. Let me see. I think I found it, so I can show you what. Come on. Of course, Facebook has to do all kinds of crap. Gosh, Facebook was so bad, like 3 and 4 years ago, when it comes to quality of videos. It was absolutely horrible. Oh, come on already. Why I stopped posting videos on Facebook is that because no matter how hard I try, and you know that in the last 2-3 years my videos have been good quality, and I usually don't, I never upload anything that is less than 1080. But no matter how much I work, yeah, Facebook doesn't want to play it. It just thinks that it's too much for it. I found exactly that one, but let me try and see if I have anything else in another group. Why are you doing that to me? And then, you know, it's like, why does Facebook suck? Well, that's why. Let me see if I have another one done here. And that same effect. No. That is the only one, and Facebook doesn't want to play it, unfortunately. I am sorry, I cannot show you. Yes, ceramic coat should work. As I said, the ones that stretch, the ones that are better quality, they have a type of like glue in there, and they will be elastic, so they would stretch. They will not. Crackle. So for this, as Elaine said, you need to use the cheapest ones. The ones that I use for this kind of stuff is whatever I found, and that's why I said in the last 2 years I didn't buy as many. But usually whenever I would go to Walmart, I would go to their crafts and paints and stuff thing, and they always had some kind of acrylic paints on sale that would be at most $1, but a lot of times they would be under $1. So you can use that without a problem. So yeah, this thing didn't work too good. That's a different. I need to do this again and show it to you next time with the paint in a proper coat and allowed to dry enough. Let me try the heat gun on here too. I don't know, sometimes it starts crackle right away, but this time it didn't want to. It's still fairly wet, and it didn't start crackling. What did I do with my eyeglasses? And they are very, very tiny cracks that started happening. Oh, actually it did start happening. There we go. Let me zoom in so you can see. Let me refocus so you can see. It doesn't look as good as it does when you let it crackle by itself. So you need to let it be for a while. See the crackle? So it would look like old type china. Why in the world does this look so washed off? It's supposed to be more colorful. That's what I see, is way more colorful. But you can see the crackles. Too close. There we go. Yeah, but this is how it has to sit a longer period of time, and if you don't force it with a heat gun, it's going to look even better. But you're getting a very nice old piece of pottery glaze type crackle. No, you don't do anything to it afterwards. You want it to look like cracked pottery, ancient pottery that got the glaze started crackle because of age or because of poor quality. Because I have a few I found some really nifty coffee mugs at the Dollar Tree one time, and I got them because they all looked like cafe stuff with mochaccino and cafe mocha and all kinds of stuff on them. Looked like, you know, French bistro look. And I got 4, and 2 of them inside developed this very, 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 very fine crackling. It's like somebody exploded a light bulb inside or something. 2 are still okay, and it's not on the outside, it's only on the inside, so it might have to do with hot coffee. So that's the whole deal. But yeah, I wanted to show you on the white and on this to make it look a little bit better. But if you want to do something that looks really, really nice, what I advise you, and you can do that even with you can use one of my rose canes, for example. And it doesn't matter if it is made with white wrapping or with translucent wrapping. You can use any of them and do like a piece of china thing, and then do a very fine whitish powder on it, and dilute it with a little bit of water or a very fine wash of white acrylic, and then cover it with a 1-step. And you will absolutely adore how that looks like. Looks like very, very old china that is cracked. You can also do that with this type of stuff, and then simply, you know, apply gray acrylic on it and wipe off the raised areas, and then apply the crackle. And actually, let me see, I don't know if I still have any. It's getting a little late and my back starts hurting, but just to give you an idea of how to do it. Let me grab a gray real quick. Okay, so let me do this. didn't put any release agent. I still can take it off, that's fine. There's a little bit left in there. But, so you get some gray on it. Again, a very light wash. Very, very light wash. And again, it's one of the cheapest. This is Pewter Gray, one of the cheapest things that I get at Walmart. I think I have like 200 bottles of acrylic paints and around the house. So we got this, and then I'm going to wipe the top. And if need be, I can apply more, but just to get the whole idea of the raised areas. So very, very gently hold it over, very, very gently, because you don't want to get too much that's inside. And then you have it like this, and obviously after that you apply the, after this dries, you apply the one-step crackle, and you'll have a very old pottery style looking little hut that will have the same kind of crackles here. If you want to make it, another thing is that if you want to make it very thick like this, you get a base of regular clay and you cut it and then you cover it up. So let me see. So you will have a base, and then you come on top of it with your other one that has been and you have to do this before you start painting it, and you just bring down the edges nice and gently, and you can use the end of a paintbrush, come out of here, or sculpting tool, just to make it nice and even, as you see I did with this one. Let's see how that is. You can even not cut it, but that implies that your base is baked. Not cut it and apply it first, and then simply bend it over the edges, and then go with your roller like this, because remember, raw clay when pressed against baked clay is going to separate by itself. But this is pretty much how you get a crackled appearance. So let's see if it did anything more. There we go. But as I said, the longer it stays, the more it will crackle. This one will not crackle all the way because I forced it, but as long as you don't force it, it's going to crackle all the way, so you won't have a problem about that. And try it. You can try it with all kinds of other things, and you can try it even on if you have any kind of a very nicely looking silk screen. you can use silk screen on that. But the whole idea would be to first apply a wash of, like, if you go white on white and you have some nice rose, let's say, you can apply a light wash of white acrylic on white and let it dry a little bit, or you know, like an off-white better, and then use your silk screen, let it dry properly, cut your piece, then apply the one-step crackle. It can be baked, so you can use it baked without a problem. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next Sunday, because it seems the whole super cold, horrible weather is over. I spent today about an hour to clear my porch and walkway of snow and ice. So I hope you get a good week, and next Sunday we'll do a pure Valentine thing, or I don't know yet what. It's not gonna be Crackle anymore, it will be something different. So I will see you all next Sunday. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you.